Hello, this is Oatmeal here. As you can see, I've been actually getting on multiplayer for quite a lot. But I have this interesting replay I wanted to show you. Now, I don't know if, how many of my subs are actually Age of Empires nerds, but this worried me. I was going against the French, the Holy Romans, and the Mongols. Now, I'm the Mongols myself. I know how OP they are, but two English, I was worried that these were newer players. So we're going to start off with a pretty good spawn. Couple sheep around to keep me busy, and the first most important thing is getting the town center in its correct position. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the map so we can see what's going on. Traditional openings from pretty much everybody except for you, because you don't have your prelate coming out. It's probably why they didn't do as good. There we go, we got English doing their thing. And I think the quick age 2 was probably what really helped out a lot, but we were talking since the beginning of the fight, and it looked pretty clear since I was kind of the hanging side over here that I was going to have to defend pretty early on. And also, if you can hear it in my voice, I am still sick with the corona. It's pretty much the only time that I can kind of like really sit down and make videos and feel creative, because with weekends I just don't really get enough time to recover and do that usually. So it's been really nice actually to chill a little bit. But I immediately go to the other side and scout for weaknesses. I completely missed green on the first one, as you can see here, and ran straight into blue. Tried to look for some vulnerabilities there and to see what they were doing, but not much interesting. Really not. Focusing heavily on food. Now, the interesting part about this gameplay is I don't usually do stables. The lower level horsemen have always been pretty useless to me. It's like, you guys have probably seen the scout video where you can just take 60 scouts and start going after landmarks left and right, and that's not really an issue. They have good torch damage. But I thought about it, and yeah, with the new range defense, really helps out. I also very quickly put a blacksmith up to make sure that I can get those range armor upgrades too. So it makes for really effective harass. So like, say I had 3 horsemen right here right now, I could take out a few of these villagers with very little casualties. I would definitely take out more food than I spent, and I would stop them from aging up or doing whatever else. But what I realized was the straight Mungadai rush that I was doing before, which was basically greed, no military until age 2. It just wasn't quick enough sometimes. I got 4 or 5 Mungadai when people were already getting out like several horsemen. It was an issue. So, got the Khan over here for him doing the Khan's work right there. And I'm popping up one of my first pastures. Now, I've talked about this before. Some people will tell me pastures aren't very economic to put up in the first few ages. I somewhat agree. My Khan's all the way over here with the sheeps, and he didn't really find much to begin with, so if I just went for a middle route scuffle, not much going on here, you know? So I try to really make sure I get the corners, and that takes a lot of time. So in that case, you definitely want to stable up, already producing, to make sure you don't fall behind too much on that. Because this is pretty much your only food source, and with the Mongols, you need lots of food. So, yeah, let's see what my friends are doing. Instantly getting into the council hall, as we all know, the best landmark in the game, or at least I think so, when it comes to just keeping out unit production and early game safety. Like, nobody really charges the English until late age 2. I don't know. Maybe if you do a battering ram rush with siege infantry, you could get earlier. But on a big map like this, that's not viable. You couldn't get enough reinforcements in time, and you'd be quickly taken down a peg or two. So the English are very powerful early game. Look at this long distance cutting over here. The Khans duke it out a little bit in the middle here. Plot twist, mine benches more, so you know, won that fight with some pride, but I'm going to go ahead and start double producing these early horsemen. This just gets me a small unit together for any early game aggression, and I'm glad that I did. I don't know if I spotted this yet. I did. I did spot that he was already putting in horsemen when I looped back around on that other end. So this scared me. Now, what I didn't know is he kind of stopped here for a little bit. Like, he didn't really get that much crazier. When I saw 2 stables, I thought 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 was coming very, very, very quickly. So I knew immediately the Mungadai were definitely going to be the option here. 1 Mungadai versus 1 spear horse. Yeah, Mungadai wins because he can just run away and keep shooting. So I immediately pop up the deer stones. I would have gone for trade. I don't know. I like the early game bonus from this one better, and I also like that I don't have to worry about unlocking that with the outpost, because sometimes you just straight up forget to get the yam speed aura, and it really does slow your villagers down. At 20% movement speed for stuff like food, for stuff like wood, very, very, very helpful. What now? Ah, the Khan. Aggressive as always. So, 5 troops, not bad, definitely not good enough to go and raid, but yeah, I did end up taking out the Khan. Feels good, always feels good to take out a Khan. And you can see these guys are 1.88, and the Khan, well, the Khan is 1.62, so the horseman should outrun the Khan. That's very good, but you can still get some good distance between the two and get away with just enough HP to make it not worth it to chase you, which, yeah, not a bad strategy. Ah, coffee. So, these guys, early game, getting it out there. Now, purple, what I didn't expect, purple was barely communicative during the game, so I didn't really know what was happening there, but yellow was really, really hooking it up with the communication, making sure that we were attacking together and moving together. But purple comes into play later on, so I wouldn't call this player useless by any means. Keeping the villager production coming out and making sure that my food economy stays good, but once I realized sheeps are running low and I'm going to need more stables, I started putting more on food, or more on wood, so that way I could just keep that powering through. Definitely don't want to run out. Got the barracks up and got the iron undermesh. Now, normally this would not be what I pick, but I started realizing as I was going in for early game raids, right? Say I go here, and this is his little battalion, it's right here fighting me next to the town hall. Well, that +1 range really helps keep Mungadai alive too, and it's also really good against English villagers. So I found that it really kept my units alive longer than they should have been whenever going for early game pushes, which we were trying to. We were trying to deal with this Mongols player because I knew that this was inevitably coming. Yeah. Had to eventually, right? But a scout and a single little bit of horseman is not really too scary for me. I start parading about. This is actually when I go to my opponent's base. And I can't see any of what's going on over here. So, luckily for me, I think I was a big enough distraction for him that he just decided, nah, not worth it. But we're going to see that iron undermesh come into play here in a little bit. Now, these are scary, scary Royal Knights. You can see just 2 Mungadai really do good work here. And then the convergence. This was probably the biggest part of the game. The fact that I was able to use my movement speed arrow, chase them all around and back to my base, really try to pick off some of these early game knights. But once I start getting in more Mungadai, this becomes far less of a problem than it was before. Now I immediately garrison my wood villagers as quick as I can to try to help with the losses that are about to unfold. And of course those villagers are super dead. Like, super, super dead. But I combined my forces, and yeah, it's all about survival at this point. It's 2v1, and the French, very, very, very scary. The fact that they can heal means I gotta kill them 2 or 3 times usually before I can actually get some work done. The Ovu, very weak building. Very, very weak. They can torch this super quick. That's 7,000. That's like 1/5, 1/6. So, need to make sure to protect your Ovu. That way you can get all that stone coming out. You don't want any downtime on that. And 150 wood at this point is actually a costly venture. But I do have my Yam Aura. I do see the boost really, really helping out here. And I also have a couple of upgrades. Looks like the range upgrade as well for attack. And you can see I'm just absolutely decimating these things. My teammate comes in to help. We're talking the whole way. And quickly squash this rebellion. I think if the French would have went harder, I would have had a more difficult time with them because I just didn't have enough Mungadai to cause a lot of pressure. But, yeah, the more you learn. I see some idle villagers here, and I am not happy about it. I start trying to build up stables to deal with that as quick as I can, just power building those. Let's go over to my teammate. Keeping up the traditional English opening. Lots of wood, lots of farms on the way very soon, I'm sure, when the sheep run out. But it's good he's already looking at a second food source. Gold here being mined heavily. Where is purple? This is purple. Purple does their own thing this entire game. Harasses, charges, deals with defense. I don't think really purple gets attacked once, so very fortunate, and honestly exactly what we needed was keeping one player out of the fray, especially when you're talking about one that's as frightening as the Holy Roman Empire. So yeah, let's see how the other Mongols player is doing. This is the fear. This is the fear, because if they can just beat me in numbers, well, they're gonna win, right? That's the problem. Very similar opening to me. I don't know why the blacksmith isn't over here so you can get the additional upgrades. These are very, very viable. See, that's the thing about Mongols. You can't pick every path that you need to go to and the time that you need to go to it to fight other civs. Like, if I wanted to be on par with French's cavalry, I would get this, right? But it's so damn expensive that I can't really do it all. So I can do improved siege engineering, I could do this. I could decide to go heavy defense with cannons, but I can't do it all. So you really got to pick which ones you want and you don't. I send a villager over here to start trade once this is discovered, because I'm like, man, look at that trade route. Juicy. And you definitely want to get trades started early on. I know it's risky. I see a lot of YouTubers and competitive players completely skip out on trade. It is so damn viable. It's ridiculous. If you can manage to get your trade started, gold is not going to be a problem late game, that's for sure. French getting absolutely obliterated by this staff of spears going on. I can't wait till we get patrol in game either. That will really help out the Mongols to not be so click intensive. If they ever get rid of animation canceling, which is where you hit, stop, and hit, and then I'll show you this in a second here actually. This is a good chance to see it. Hit. Get all that torch damage. Boom. Again. And sometimes it's hard to click it, especially when there's a tree in the way, but you can see how effective it is at dealing with things. If they ever get rid of animation canceling, because it's in bad taste, I think patrol will be what helps the Mongols stay sane when they have no walls to build. Alright, let's take another look at my teammates here. Keeping up the troops, very, very good production here. Even with just 2 buildings, it looks like. Getting up walls to make sure his home's taken care of, and I'm very glad about that. If we had to split troops at any point in this fight, it would be a huge burden to all of us. I'm making sure to get all the good upgrades whenever I can, making sure to keep those coming in. We didn't get a very fast castle. I usually do, but with all the troops that were pouring in left and right, yeah, definitely wanted to make sure I was going to be secure early on. Now this is fun. He's got the Yam Speed aura, but I used my Khan's arrow And this is the beauty of the Mungadai, right? I've got 11 of them. Just watch. Couple of his, couple of mine. And all I gotta do is drive by. What's he gonna do? He knows he can't take me out on the open field, so now I just get to roast his Ovu. Slow down his production a little bit. I also get paid to do that with the Mongols. You get paid for burning down buildings, and the Ovu is no different. So he looks like he's just getting impatient, ready to kill me. The French is immediately coming to help, but that's just not enough force to really do anything. Looking to age up to 3, but I'm busy fighting, so not doing that yet. Got the archers coming in from the north as well. Ooh. That is painful. Okay, so now we're doing the fight. Or at least I'm trying to do the fight. But either way, my goal here is to do some damage. The Ovu is nice, it's not enough. I want to be able to kill some villagers, do some economy damage, take out some military, whatever ends up being the way. And these Mungadai are just doing an excellent job, as you can see, of really chipping him down, making sure that I don't have a lot following me. Yep. Look at all those. Look at mine. So you can see it's not the best trade in the world, but it certainly balances out to something pretty cool. Now yellow did well, got siege engineering, started popping up rams, and made sure that the horseman production was going to be at a stopping point for now. This helped out a lot, because now we're focusing on heavy econ. Current economy is 44, and already popping up traders as we speak. This villager chills here, I'm pretty sure, for a little bit, till he starts building watchtowers for the Yamor on this whole stretch to make sure my villagers get 20% more. Speed. Yes. They are slow right now, but not for long. I pop up the Kurultai. There's a lot of disagreement on this landmark, and when I say a lot, I mean like, I think you'll be hard-pressed to find people that use this. If you play a lot of micro, and you really like to, I don't know, for lack of a better way to say it, play with your opponents. So this can be very intimidating. It's like, imagine I park this, like, you know I've got Mungadai. You know I've been building them up. Now imagine I've got 60 of them, and I've got this. And I mean, as much as Mungadai are easy to kill, well, they're easy to heal too, because they don't have a lot of health points. So very quickly you can have an army that can swallow another, and you become a force to be reckoned with, a lot like the French, where they just run away, heal, and come back. That's why they're so effective, is they don't really lose their military at any given point. And that recycling ability is just so powerful. I send this villager to deal with this annoying wolf. You know how it is. You can also use the Kurultai, by the way, for traders. So if I were to move my base back at any point and kind of scurry off into the corner here in fear, I could definitely have my traders being healed up and taken care of. That's a big one. So I start advancing out these towers as I do to get good visibility. It died, but I've learned from this fight before that I can win it, so I'm already getting more blacksmith upgrades. I know that my troops are stronger, and I just got it demonstrated in this little drive-by. Those horsemen stand no match for a Mungadai mix, and I think he's learned that after this game. This is the way. The horsemen are good, but if you can micro effectively, you don't even get smashed once. Or you can wait for your Mungadai to just swallow them whole and shoot them down. I was watching a pro play, and he used the staggered formation for like 70 Mungadai. And I watched as they took down elephants in less than 2 seconds. It's very effective. No idea why. Maybe it encourages troop focus or something with the AI and how it shoots things. Yeah, I don't know, but I really enjoyed it. It's very effective, and we'll see that play out later on in the game. I'm gonna get some more coffee. Look at those guys assemble. If you ever are an English player French player, any of them really. Crossbowmen are something you're going to want to transition to in this time. When you start seeing heavy French knights, you need heavy French crossbows for their chests. Really, if you can get to age 4 and get the hand cannoners, obviously better, but when it comes to the Mongols, I'm going full on Mongolai. I've seen what they can do, and their mobility is uncontested. As long as I build my YAM network out, which is this network of towers that gives me that speed boost and all that radius, I'm going to be doing good. And speaking of speed boosts and radius, I'm getting my trade route going up, and I'm not playing around. I know how valuable these trade routes are, and that is what we call late game. It's worth the investment. Back to the base, making sure gold's coming in because my traders haven't done anything yet, really. And this is what was really holding me back, is the fact that I had to set up all those traders, pay for all that, and then wait for these guys to come back. This is my first round of profit from this whole venture, so it's lovely when it happens, but I can see why some people don't do trade. It feels like a very delayed gratification, but it's worth it. It's very, very, very worth it in my mind. So whenever I push villagers up, I like to push the Kurultai up. Like I said, it's the intimidation aura that comes along with it. I also like to get a watchtower in the distance. These can be paper mache for all I give a shit. They are my alarm systems to tell me, oh, somebody is in my shit. And they also do this for me. You see how much is lit up for me versus the other players? I mean, I can go really and see almost anything going on at any given point. So I see this. I remember this. This scared the crap out of me. And that's when Yellow made me aware that they built a siege workshop, I believe. Told them about the keep in my face, and he was determined to do something about it. I don't think it's up yet, but it will be coming up soon, and those trebs will be on the way. So now that I've got a full health army, I'm getting a little antsy, but that keep is definitely holding me back. I don't want to get boiling oiled. It only takes a couple of those to really, really decimate your ranks. But one last thing I wanted to talk about. This is your Lancer, right? It's not fully upgraded, but it's got 230. This is the same level of upgraded, and it's got 155. What's funny is a lot of people expect this to be worse. What's worse is the armor, and the armor is definitely noticeable. As well as the attack off the lance is much better on these guys, but yeah, these aren't much worse. I've been using them pretty heavily. Let's see, we got 10 over here. And that's about all you need. You need kind of a 1-to-2 ratio with that to your Mongolai. And it's just enough HP to tank some of the bullshit you'll encounter out there on the field. And yeah, it gives you that little bit of edge. Obviously, if you have the gold economy, which at some point I will with this trading, to keep Lancers coming out, you obviously would want to. But if you're early game, I can tell you I've won entire games all day with just 40 or 50 veteran horsemen, 40 or 50 Mongolai. I just completely loaded on those, and it was more than enough. The only problem is keeps. So if you see keeps, definitely start switching into Lancers. You want to be able to take care of those guys a little bit better. And, yeah. That's all she wrote with that one. Finally got the YAM auras completely set up here, banking that lovely 173 per, and I always do this not really for the gold to get my age up, which I do, that's great, but it's to get the stone. Even when I do get the other landmark, not the White Stupa, the Cagnet Palace or whatever it's called, I love it, but then I'm like, where's my stone? So I'm still going to say White Stupa, it's the best way to go. It's a second Uvu, if you didn't know, essentially. And, yeah, here we go. Acts as an Uvu, producing 240 stone without a stone outcropping. And it also speeds up my stables here, so I didn't have to keep up with the infrastructure that heavily. Because you can see, I've only got 1 sheep. That's not a lot. And you can only have 30, but if they're killing them so quick, it's like, I've gotten to the point to where I've needed 20 stables around here just to fill up my villager queue of how much food I was producing. So, definitely something to think about. Stables, they feel OP when you've got 1 in age 1, but immediately you're going to need to scale that up. What do we got going on here? See, I'm telling you, purple just made it so that red was absolutely crippled. I mean, every time red was trying to do something or trying to go anywhere or trying to be intimidating, they immediately got met with purple, and yeah, it didn't really do much. Looks like they were trying to trade out here, but yeah, the trebs are out. Very quick process. How many siege? You got 2 siege. Look at this. This is definitely the example you need to be taken from, not mine. I mean, mine's okay, but his production is through the roof. But this is about where you want to be at this time to make sure that you can keep up with all these troops coming out. Even got some spring alds just in case, but the treb is going to help out majorly, because that's the only thing that's going to kill my supply lines if I'm ever running to green, and I knew that. But in the meantime, I was just making sure, since I knew the trebs were coming, that I got outposts to kind of help with the field division to give me that yam speed aura all the way there, and hopefully take advantage of that. That keep is going down quick. That's so many villagers. I always get amazed at how vulnerable I leave this spot, and if you're wondering, that's a good way to cripple the Mongols, is to attack this. Yeah, good mangonel shot in here, and you've just destroyed half their economy. I love it when people say Mongols have no, you know, counters, and then I look at this, and I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? So I start producing bombards, because I saw the keep, and I thought, well, if there's one, there's got to be 2, right? Not really. There was one over here, but that's about it, and I guess one coming up here, so I guess that was the good play. When you start seeing keeps, start playing hardball. Looks like he gets another Uvu production going up here. Definitely has a crazy stable economy. He's definitely not going to be hurting. 12 stables producing is more than enough. Not great on the upgrades. It makes sense why I decimated his army, for sure. It looks like he got scared of me with the with the range, but that's about it. I really do think he should have invested in Mungadai pretty early on. I don't know if he's got a qualm with the troop itself, but he should figure that out and get into producing others. So I see that my mass is getting sizable now. I'm also getting in heavy lancers, so with that kind of a tank, I'm not really worried about what my opponent has. I also need to start working on gold, so I start securing this middle area here. I believe. Yeah, these 2 outposts, and then gold node over here. There wasn't really a better place to do that, so that was as good as it got for now. But now we're in age 4, and I have already gotten it. So this will give me stone in my trades. Have I gotten any yet? Oh, my first trip, it looks like. 15 stone per, and this will get your renewable stone heading up, so that way you don't have to worry about a bunch of poverty in that area. Man, blue really did well at spreading out. I just don't think I think he split up his forces too much. I see a lot of people play French, and they really have a bad habit of just putting 4 knights here, 4 knights there, 2 knights over here, and then they wonder why their knights die. I mean, you need masses, and I run with the horde. So I see that Khan running away for his dear life, and it's time. It is time. Yellow is here at my back, so I know that I have essentially troop reinforcements coming. Now look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. So you kind of pile in. Do I switch it? I think I switch it out here. Nope, I just swallow it whole. Okay. And that's another thing you can do, is just stand on top of your enemies and just eat them. And you can see it's very effective, but you want to get right in their face so that way everybody's got enough range to deal with everything going on. That's a quick demise. I went back to help and realized the spears had demolished everything. That level of villager loss is crippling. But I knew he had to have a horde like I did. Just a little bit of point blank blasting. And that is GG for green. Did very, very well. I just think a couple of these should have been archers. And he probably would have been able to compete a lot better. I see blue start to creep in over here. I'm not really tripping. I mean, archers are good, but we're a little late for that, so... And all the while, I mean, we're just growing outwards uncontested. I mean, this is just becoming a joke, really. I've upgraded these with the Springald and the cannon. Yep. So I'm getting stones, so I'm starting to upgrade my towers left and right, starting to expand them all over the place. This villager goes crazy, because this single villager has built like probably 10 to 15 outposts already. What a pro. Gotta go and get my money from this place by burning it down. And yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Looks like purple's getting a little antsy, so starting to get the cannon together. Things are starting to heat up a little bit, and I think blue is really, really feeling the pressure. I don't know why the College of Artillery is way over there, but there it is. He probably knew it was going to be an issue late game of survival, so spread out the landmarks, make it hard. Yeah, I agree. Alright. The horde has pretty much got them down. I start moving the palace up, and yeah, it's going to do some good work. Looks like he's assembling his full army again. He had almost no casualties, but I'm not surprised. He's got the upgraded spearmen. He's also got 2 of the barracks upgrades. He's just kicking ass. And I love that when that happens, you know, not a lot of these games you join, these 3v3s, 4v4s, and you just don't know what you're going to get out of teammates. Like, you know, you walk into a lobby where 3 people are already set on one team, and you're like, oh, so you guys know each other and are probably on Discord communicating while we're sitting here having to deal with the worst censored chat I've ever seen in my entire life. I think I tried to say, I wanted to cripple Green's economy, and cripple was blocked. And all I could imagine was the meme of Jimmy off South Park with the Crips. But anyway, getting the horde together, they heal very quickly. But now we're starting to see the big difference between the elite lancers and some of the horsemen. The elite lancers looking at 324 total health here. Let me see where I can find 216. Not bad. It's not bad. But, you know, it's not 324. And it also doesn't have armor. You can see that 7 armor. Very, very powerful when it comes to blocking a lot of that damage. And that's really where the lancers start to shine, is when you're battling keeps, when you're battling heavy armies, when you see any sort of artillery in the field. That's when you really start wanting to make the switch. I love the early game lancers, and they're great. I keep them fully upgraded. Because one, I'm definitely not broke. But, wow, neither is blue. I was not tracking that throughout the game. Look at that. I mean, I'm definitely sitting on a good amount of resources, but I'm using them. Why is blue... See, this is blue's biggest mistake. I was not wrong. This is not enough knights. So I guess he immediately goes for arbiters and artillery instead of the knights, which I do not think... I don't think that was the path, to be honest with you, but I start seeing him going for keeps, and the second he opened the door for me, well, I'm in. And watch me swallow this entire army. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And now I'm spreading out, so you can see the keep is a lot less scary with its boiling oil, and I can just run around and shoot. I do send them over here to eat this up, just because of the artillery, but after that I spread them out again and let them just start assassinating everything. You can see how quickly they're going to deal with stuff like the artillery eventually, and yeah, there goes a knight. And villagers, that's the big one. But the second that he lost all of his economy, he knew it was over, folded the game, and purple's been here after they killed red. It was a very, very good game. But yeah. I'm probably going to be doing more of this, HRE, and a little bit of French. Those seem to be my favorite three at the moment. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed.